What's up, YouTube and Twitch? Speedmaster24 here, back with another live stream. Now let me just go ahead, quickly pull up the mod view, as I always do. And welcome to a writing stream. See, I had a bit of a hankering to do a writing stream. It happens sometimes, and I actually have a Undertale AU I've been working on for a little while. It's called The Safety in the Multiverse, as listed in the title. Oh, and I gotta edit the title slightly. I gotta edit the stream title, actually. Missing a space. Anyways, it's called The Safety in the Multiverse. Now, the general idea behind this is a single universe, kind of commandeered by a single sans that kind of forces it into a neutral zone of sorts. Now, I wrote about 3 pages worth. I know there's probably about 8 pages worth on screen, but I don't like deleting the rewrites that I do. If I scroll up far enough, you'll see rewritten segments and such. So that's kind of what I did, is I rewrite some segments that I wasn't a fan of, and I will have the link to read this on Discord. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do that right now, since there are 2 viewers. I was not expecting 2 viewers right off the bat, but may as well. So if anyone is actually curious enough to read this, well, I will just, I'll just pop this in general for the time being. It's in a Google Doc, though, so, you know. Some people have a thing against Google Docs for some reason. I don't know why. There we go, problem solved. Now, where did I leave off last time when I was writing? I think I left off at the cabin scene. Now, I won't rehash over the beginning part of this, so if you do want to, you know, see what the lead up is, then you will have to go read. But there shouldn't be too many spoilers, since this is a segmented, since this is kind of a storybook pattern, with it kind of being segmented between views, I guess. All in all, should be fine. Let's see. I last left off with writing at the cabin scene. Honestly, let's see. Spacing out with how long you're taking. First giggled a bit at Sans' joke, despite it not being the best or making much sense. Soon the pair. That's definitely something to fix. Soon the pair. Now wait. No, that's just a comma then. I'm not the best with English, I will admit. Honestly, after I get down the general idea, I'm gonna have to go through and just fix all the grammar mistakes. I don't imagine it's the most readable thing. By the reason for Sans' joke, the door opened up to reveal a Sans with a golden crown on his head, wearing a light yellow vest with a strange bandana. The only thing I'm wondering about is how much I should do the outfit explanations. Because the outfit explanations, I feel, are kind of necessary. I could just say Dream Sans or Ink Sans or Blueberry or whatever and have people look them up. But I feel it takes away from the charm if you have to stop reading and go look up something. That's honestly one of the reasons why I looked up their personalities beforehand. Directly from the creators' Tumblrs and stuff. It's actually really interesting seeing that Ink Sans is apparently just an asshole by the creator's standard. I mean, I paraphrased immensely in a more literal sense, he's just so blunt and jerkish with his pranks that he doesn't really, that he just kind of comes off as a bit of an asshole. Still paraphrasing, but I recommend going to their, I recommend going and reading for yourself. Actually, let me just make a quick channel for some of this stream stuff, because I feel like some of these links are... Oh, wait a minute. I have a channel content. Channel. Yeah, I'll do that, and then I'll just put down some of these links so that anyone who's curious can go and look at this stuff for themselves. Because I personally wanted to capture their personalities accurately, rather than it just being, oh, I'm using this character or whatever, you know? I'm not going to make Papyrus suddenly into some sort of murderous monster with zero plot reasoning whatsoever. Anyways, I'm a yapper. I'm yapping for too long. Now, let's see. Strange bandana, wearing a light yellow vest with a strange bandana cape fusion with golden suns on it. Further inside, Frisk could see two other Sanses and an Alphys who looked quite shocked to see them. I'll put a comma there. To see them there. The first Sans looked identical to theirs, except that his hoodie and his shorts were stained with monster dust. No one seemed bothered, though. The other Sans, no one seemed bothered by this, though. Let's see. The other Sans was wearing a brown scarf that went down to his ankles and some sort of painter's outfit with a bandolier of paint vials in different colors of the rainbow. I don't actually remember. Were his eyes normal? I believe his eyes were mostly normal, judging by the art thing. I think I'll leave that there, though. I think that's enough exposition on the appearances. Now, where did I continue? All right, this second paragraph that's just a repeat down at the bottom was the section I was rewriting. I think I'll have Alphys continue the conversation here. Sans? Now, I'll be answering any questions about the writing anytime, honestly. Comment or Discord or otherwise, though I don't usually reply to many comments, so you'll probably get better responses than the Discord. Let's see. So we had that, Actually, you know what? His presence alone seemed to brighten the mood. Further inside, yeah, okay, that seems good. By this, though. Oh, whoops, I said though twice, Alphys asked. Now, I'm a little bit out of the loop. It's been a few days since I've written, and that can kind of require a bit of catch-up on this. Now, obviously, once I would say finish writing this, I will probably narrate the entire thing as just a audiobook on YouTube or something if someone wants to listen. I keep getting off topic. Let's put in the punctuation because we gotta express the emotion. Because as far as I can tell, it's a bad writing habit to have exclamations with the this little dialogue bit here. Or at least that's what I've been told. Relax, Alfie's. He's gonna need a comma there. No, I'm gonna need a period. I'm gonna need a period for that. Kid was on a pacifist run this time, so I thought they could tag along. Besides, we can always do things the hard way later, Sans said. Frisk was not... Let's see. Frisk was not comforted by the tone of Sans' voice. Much less the rage they could... Thankfully, Ink, as he would soon be known, stepped in with I'm not the best with wording. Frisk was not comforted by the tone of Sans' voice, much less the rage they could see bubbling on Alfie's face. Thankfully, Ink, as he would soon be known, stepped in with oblivious excitement. That's a good descriptor. As he would soon be known, stepped in with oblivious excitement. Let's do all caps. All right, everyone, in all caps, who's ready to get started with game night? Dust brought pretzels. How do you spell pretzel? There we go, pretzel. And I still spell it wrong. It's with an E. Ah, that's my mistake. About pretzel sticks. And I'm Ink. What's your name? There we go. I think writing Ink in a kind of scatterbrained manner will work best. All right, everyone, who's ready to get started with game night? Dust pretzel sticks, and I'm Ink. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Kind of as a out of order conversation topic. Rather than greeting himself first, he brings up the pretzels first. I should note that on the on the creator's Tumblr page for Ink, they actually just say that they actually do just mention him just sounding autistic as fuck. I mean, it sounds harsh to say, and I'm sure everyone's wanting to cancel me for saying that, but, you know, horrible memory to the point where he can stop mid-thought, forgetting what he's saying. Completely scatterbrained and excitable with things he's interested in or whatever. I completely lost the point on the page where it mentioned that stuff. There it is. Personality. Tendency to get too excited about things, also very short memory and will forget about different things, sometimes stopping mid-sentence to try and remember what he just said a few seconds before. And I kind of want to capture that sort of giddiness, because while Ink is a bit of a guardian of the multiverse, he is also basically an abandoned child, considering his backstory. So I do think it kind of works well, having a personality like that. Ooh, and then there's a really fun detail that I'll definitely want to add in later. I'll save that for as a bit of a surprise for anyone who's watching. Let's see. Ink approaches enemies carefully, really forgetful, yada yada. Yeah, heartily having proper social understanding. He's blunt in his teasing and mocking. And just like in his ability to give support, can be inconsiderate and cruel in his opinions even. And deep down sees other characters as story characters and not as people like him. Which I think is a really interesting detail, because I'm sure it'd be easy. I mean, I'm sure most people will read that and go, oh, he doesn't care about people, but it's actually quite the opposite. Kind of cares about them a lot more in a much different, more true way, I guess. I don't know. It's something you kind of have to understand through your own philosophy. What's your name? And then, do I keep Frisk? No, I think I want to keep Frisk as talking. I like the idea of Frisk talking here because it's not you, the player. It's its own character in a sense. And this Frisk's personality basically just embodies pure curiosity. Earlier, I listed that it was a reset, 3,321? Frisk is purely embodying curiosity in doing and exploring everything. Granted, I do want to add in a bit of a element of POV, but that is a bit hard to do. Granted, that is why I'm kind of writing this as a sort of storybook fashion, where you're looking in on this universe rather than following along with one single main character, as I'll hop back and forth between different things. It's even why I have at the top I'm not going to scroll to the top. You know what, I'll scroll to the top. Even why I have it at the top, just a fun little idea for condiment factories, with the different Sanses running the ones based on what they like. Even with Papyrus as well, so the brother will own like a... what's the word? brotherly company, I guess. Oh, I can't speak at all. I cannot speak in the slightest. Now, let's see here. A bit. They said a bit too bewildered by his frantic speech to say much more. Let's see. Ah, crap, I don't actually know. End goal of this scene is everyone playing some tabletop MMO. Let's see. I think actually writing more from the perspective of Frisk would work better here. Let's do, no, annoyed's not the right word. Frustrated is a much better word. Frustrated and confused by the following. On the one hand, Sans had characteristically wait, is that the proper lead? Yeah, that's proper lead. Led them on. Had characteristically led them on back in the underground. And all for the sake of what they could only see some sort of board game night. That's all one word, right? It is not all one word. Board game night. On the other hand, had characteristically led them on, comma, need a comma there. Let's see. On the other hand, the strange grouping of characters here. A strange grouping of Sanses here. And they're conflicting. Oh dear. So much harder to type on phone. Conflicting personalities. Made it hard to stay mad, much less follow along. Oh, that was the wrong lead. Is it? Now I gotta look up this word. Probably bad idea. No, okay, so that is the correct word then. God, I'm so bad at English. Before they knew it, I think this is the perfect time to introduce Dust as a character, actually. Now, I will actually quickly mention, because it was difficult to find personality information on Dust Sands, I had to read through like hundreds of Ask the Creator messages on their Tumblr, since that's basically where all the information is. And Dust is a surprisingly neutral character. Don't get me wrong, he will absolutely go ballistic in his own universe. But the second you take him out of it, in the creator's own word, Dust is kind of neutral, honestly. He has no reason to hate anyone. He's not going to instantly fight the next human he sees, because in Dust's own word, essentially, it would be, he has, after what he's done, he has no right to be a judge, essentially. I'm sure he would potentially take action if necessary, but if he was just in a room full of humans in a different universe, he would have no reason to massacre them, essentially, so long as his target, which we'll just name Dust Human, is dead. If the Dust Human is dead, he has no more purpose in life, essentially, and he'll just kind of sit there for all eternity. Which I found really intriguing. Now, let's see. Before they knew it, they had bumped into the sands covered in monster dust. God, I'm not good at puns either. I feel like there's a pun here to be made. There's definitely a pun here to be made. I want to use cabin as a pun, but that's horrible. God, I'm not good at puns. That's a shame. That is a shame. All right, well, I'm gonna put the pun on hold. In fact, we'll put like a little yellow marker for pun. No, we'll put a cyan marker. And we'll just do parentheses pun. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna continue the dialogue, but in the future, I need to add a pun there. Whoa, kid. I'm Dust, and the happy and the sunny fellow. I guess that's a bit of a pun. Seems like you and are already acquainted, though. I spelled acquainted wrong, didn't I? Definitely spelled it wrong. Alright, you know what? We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this, and we'll save that for the future. I'll be rereading everything. Oh, kid. Don't mind the... No, yeah, let's just keep it at that. Dust Sans said. Whoa there, kid. Be careful where you're walking. I'm Dust, and the sunny fellow over there is Dream. Seems like you and Alphys are already acquainted. I'm just not good at writing dialogue. It's too disjointed. Or at least it feels disjointed. I need to separate it with a bit more action, with more descriptions. You know what, let's add in this little bit. Might remove the Alphys line then. Honestly, I highly doubt anyone's gonna watch this, but I feel like streaming what I do, so I'm also not in the mood for gaming today, so that's kind of the other thing. I got my free time and I'm gonna write, so I might as well stream what I'm writing. Just said. Catch and frisk before they fall. Probably used she or he back there, but trying not to since they're supposed to remain gender neutral. Just for the sake of Undertale. Just for the sake of it. I should do as they stumble instead of before. I might keep in this second line about the hoodie, though. Frisk's, let's see. Rather than the group arguing. Frisk's attention was now drawn to the hoodie rather than the group arguing. Mostly. Now, let's see. The hoodie. The hoodie. Was aptly. Was aptly stained through with monster dust of all things. There we go. That seems like a good point to put in the hoodie line, because I do like the hoodie line. Don't mind the hoodie. ... I just don't really have much else to change into, Dust Sans said. Now let's remove the sans bit. There we go. Now I know this doesn't look I know the paragraphs don't look the best on mobile. If I were to pull up the Google Doc, yeah, it does look a bit better on the Google Doc. Oh, and aptly is spelled wrong. How do you spell that? That's also wrong, isn't it? Aptly. That's also wrong. Is that just it? Now I gotta define it. Okay, never mind. That's the correct spelling right there. Color me surprised. Color me surprised. All right, then. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if keeping the pacing a bit frantic as well to try and match the mood of the room helps. I'll probably have to reread everything just to see, since you can't really tell as you're writing it, or at least I can't tell as I'm writing it. I definitely need to proofread over and over again. Probably gonna rewrite the cabin scene as well. The only other question is, how long do I want to have this go? Because there is not much happening here. You know what? We'll continue on to where the tabletop game is introduced, and then introduce the next character after that. The next scene, I guess I should say. That seems like a good point. Because we do have a couple scenes here and there, and I feel like that would be a good point of a scene change. Introducing a few characters, and then settle things down, and then switch, I think. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't. Probably doesn't. All right, let's see. Didn't. Dust was. Didn't take a genius to see how miserable Dust looked. I'm really not good at tying scenes together. Really not. I just. What is it? What is it that I'm missing? What is it that I'm missing with this? I can't figure it out. I just can't. I'm gonna continue writing this, and then I'm gonna have to proofread the ever-loving shit out of this. Period. It wouldn't take a genius to see Oh, actually, that is probably the proper punctuation there. Frisk, once again, wouldn't be given a chance to speak. As Dusk interjected into the group's argument. Yeah, also did not address the argument fact. I kind of just jumped to that point as if it had already always existed. Want to try and not have things be too jarring. Yeah, okay, this is definitely the point here where it's a problem. Want to add in a bit more information at this point, where Frisk just barely got introduced to ink sands. Ooh, I'm yawning again. I need to stretch a little. Oh, I can feel the joints popping. Oh, okay, well, that was probably not the right move. Ooh. I don't know if stretching will make me less likely to yawn, but it will probably help. Or maybe I need music. Either way. I think it's probably better to give other people the opportunity to put on whatever music they want while listening to this, because I don't have a way to tweak the audio values. So if the music's too loud, I can't really fix that is the problem. I would have no way of fixing that. Bit of a problem there, but it is what it is. You know, random thought. And I'm getting distracted again. Let's focus on writing. A bit too bewildered by his frantic speech to say much more. Frisk would try to ask what all this was about, though. Comma. Before they could, however, Alfie's and Sans ended up in an argument over them. Yeah, okay, that should be a good detail to add in. Otherwise, it's definitely a bit too jarring right there. Keep seeing people hopping into the stream. Bit of a shame I can't see who. Oh well. Let's see. Actually, I wonder if there's just on the Twitch page just an option to, or not an option, if I should just add in a little description thing saying, feel free to ask questions. Yeah, there is the description info section. Alright, well, can't really edit that, I guess. That's a shame. Or at least can't really edit it during the stream. Over them being here. Frisk at this point was simultaneously frustrated and confused by the situation before them. On the one hand, Sans had characteristically led them on back in the underground, all for the sake of what they could only see to be... Gotta capitalize underground, don't I? Since that is a specific place in this situation. All for the sake of what they could only see to be some sort of board game night. On the other hand, the strange grouping of Sanses here and their conflicting personalities made it hard to say mad, much less follow along. Before they knew it, they had bumped into the sands covered in monster dust. Whoa there, kid. Be careful where you're walking. I'm Dust, and the sunny fellow over there is Dream, Dust said, catching Frisk as they stumbled. Frisk's attention was now drawn to the hoodie rather than the group arguing. The hoodie Dust was wearing was aptly stained through with monster dust. With monster dust of all things. That sentence feels a bit off. The hoodie Dust was wearing, was aptly stained through with monster dust of all things. Don't mind the hoodie. I just don't really have much else to change into. Frisk, looking up at Dust's face, could clearly tell he'd be better not to pry any further. It wouldn't take a genius to see the utter misery and depression in his eyes. Frisk, once again, wouldn't be given a chance to speak as Dust interjected into the group's argument. Now, since no one's watching the stream, I think I'll take this opportunity to quickly update that little that little description section, which I doubt anyone actually looks at, to be honest. Doubt anyone does. There we go. That fixes that. Probably doesn't make for the best VOD viewing experience, but I wanted to fix that now before it was too late. There we go. Originally, the description section on the channel just said I do balloon streams, so I like the idea of recommending people to join in on chat, if anyone does. Let's see. Alright, so now I think I can delete all of this now, since this was part of a paragraph I was rewriting, which actually catches me up to the latest bit, which means I'm still writing new stuff. Have been this entire time, but part of that was rewriting. So let's see. Is everyone just going... I'm gonna explain. Not Kiddo. Kiddo seems too endearing for Dust. Sans would say Kiddo. but definitely not dust. No, it's too cheerful, I guess. And then I feel like using all caps is excessive, so I'll just do a couple exclamation points. The room, let's see. The room quieted down a bit. Actually, you know what? Let me just double check the stream audio. Part of me is convinced something's going wrong. No, it sounds fine. Is that tapping audible? Okay. It is barely. The tapping is barely audible. That's not good. It's not good at all. Ah, well. People will just have to turn down the stream a bit. This is the best I can manage. Especially when you're typing on phone. Actually, now I don't really have a good solution. Since I'm using the phone mic, there's no way to mask any sort of sounds. I couldn't even use keyboards since that would be audible, I'm pretty sure. Let's try it. Yeah, okay, that's audible. Can't really... Yeah, no, there's no real workaround here. That's a shame. Ah, well. It is what it is. The room quieted down a bit. The ones with suns on his outfit. The room quieted down a bit before Dream, comma, the one with suns on his outfit, decided to so we do a weekly board game. And since he picked a game that requires teams of 2 to play. I'll put a period there, capitalize the S. Help with readability when I go back through this. So Sans said he knew some. Game night. Yeah, okay, that seems like a good spelling. Let's add in this. Dream quickly explained. Introducing everyone once more. introducing and pointing out everyone. No, I think introducing everyone once more. Anyways, since to explain it. Finally, Ink said. Frisk, before they realized it. Oop, and I'm messing up with the keyboard. For a tabletop RPG. Does that? Oh, I guess that's all one word then. Tabletop is all one word. I guess I'm not speaking too much, but it's a shame there's no one in chat to talk to while I type this out. That is a shame. Frisk, before they realized it, was teamed up with Sans for a tabletop RPG called Ironsworn Warforged. Now, I'll just quick disclaimer. I have no idea what this is. I just picked something fitting that wasn't D&D. It is technically a D&D-esque game, but I picked something sci-fi since that seemed fitting. Don't ask why it seemed fitting. It just is. Frisk, before they realized it, was teamed up with Sans for a and dragged into a lengthy explanation of the rules. Alright, that seems like the perfect instance to end off this scene. Something that can be returned to in the future, potentially. Oh, wait, no. I still need one more detail. I need to add in the explosion. Always with explosions, I know. How mystifying. How absolutely mystifying. That was the wrong word as well. Mystifying. What does that even... I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Confusing, maybe? Something like that. Outside the cabin, a large boom could be heard. Actually, no, I could just continue it here. This explanation continued even through the massive even through the cabin shaking and the not resulting the massive The others seemed unfazed, almost. And at this point, Frisk decided they might as well be too. Alright, that seems perfect. Now I can switch scenes. I know it seems a bit strange to want to switch scenes, but this is a bit of a writing corner, if that makes sense. Essentially, I don't really have a way of introducing more plot without something coincidental, I guess. Something being, I mean, it would feel a bit forced if I had something happen to these characters because there's been no motivations, no enemies, no conflict introduced with them specifically beyond the introduction bit. If anyone has read this. So, that's exactly why we're going to switch to another set of characters who might potentially die, who knows. Well, I'll have to see what I do with them. Because now we're completely in new territory. Jesus Christ, why can't I stop yawning? Alright, you know what? Give me 1 second. Let's just do a couple of quick stretches. This yawning is getting in to be too much. We'll go into the splits a bit. I think the pain will definitely help. Oh boy. Lean to the left. Lean to the right. Yeah, I still feel like yawning. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot stop yawning for the life of me. Maybe that's a sign to end stream, hard to say, but an hour stream feels a bit short today, especially after you wait the entire day to stream. And then I'm going to have to be busy all day tomorrow. Oh boy. Yeah, let's continue. Now I want to do... What do I want to do? What's the initial idea here? I think the initial idea is definitely a fight between PH Sands. Wait, PA Sands. Wait, why did I say PH? It's not a fucking pool acidity or whatever. Is there a PH Sands? What would that be? Plot hole Sands. Ooh. That could be a fun thing. And I'm still yawning. Damn, that sucks. Don't know why. Honestly, I could probably just pass out right now. Yeah, I definitely think this is an instance to introduce... What should I introduce here? Because there are a lot of characters that I could potentially work with. You know what? I could go for the Fell universe. Fell Sands and all that stuff. That actually seems promising, because he does seem like someone who would get into a fight. I could see him getting into a fight, and then this could be the introduction to the possibility of surviving PA Sands. Because, I mean, PA Sands, well, he is technically all-powerful in this universe. He isn't omnipotent. He's just unstoppable. He's the unstoppable force. Oh, wait, no. He's the immovable rock. That's what he is. He's the immovable rock. But he's not the unstoppable force, is the trick. I can't stop yawning. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I don't have anything I don't have any, like, sodas or energy drinks either. I have salt. You know what? I'm just gonna eat straight salt. That's what we're gonna do. I know this sounds completely bizarre and batshit insane, but that's what we're doing. Ooh, that's some good salt. Ooh. You know what? That's got a good kick to it. And now watch me instantly start yawning again. Let's see. In a nearby cabin, so the 1 hour game night group is in. What would they be fighting over? What would Fell be fighting over potentially? Because if he's a bit of an opposite to his counterpart, then I need to figure out what I would. Let's see. Papyrus definitely more. I don't know. Underfell is definitely a bit of an edgier situation. Who made Underfell? Let's see. Let's see. Vic the Fella in 2015. That originally just started out as the main Undertale cast with edgy clothing, but that eventually had some lore added and a timeline. It was created. Currently, there is an official. Oh, okay. There is an official. Oh, it's another ask page of sorts. Oh, good lord, I have to read through so much. Oh, that's already 10 pages worth. Good lord, I was not expecting to see Underfell Sands in a shadow hoodie or whatever. That was not what I was expecting. Let's see, General FAQ. Here we go. Let's see, he is the original. Started out when. Okay, evil. Blah, blah, blah. Stressed me out. Oh, okay. So he just gave up the AU then. So I guess I am just free to interpretation then. He really did just make this as villain mode. Whatchamacallit. Okay, that's actually interesting to learn. It's actually interesting to see some of this stuff. It does seem like he has a canon version, but I have no idea where to find it, so. Oh, never mind. Ah, never mind. That's a lot of reading. Good lord, there is so much to read. Well, we'll put that on potentially hold then. We shall put that on hold. Instead, I definitely think I'm gonna go for a bit of a my own interpretation on Fell. What other options are there? I could do something creative, but I think introducing more familiar characters is definitely a good idea, especially ones that would argue. The only question is, what would they fight over? Yeah, I don't know. I cannot think of a good idea for this next scene. I finished up the current scene over the span of an hour, which that's way too long. Definitely am a slow writer, but well, no, I guess I'm not a slow writer. Even Brandon Sanderson did about 2 to 3 pages a day. So, spending an hour getting about a page done and then. Yeah, okay. Alright. Maybe I will just end stream here. Because I cannot think of. I've just hit writer's block. I have just hit writer's block. Well, I'll say it again. If you want to read over what I have so far for this, it can be found on the Discord server for my channel, as well as some links to some of the Sans information stuff if you want to look at that as well. Like I'll link some of the original Tumblrs or whatever so that you can go look at the source material for yourself if you are curious or need a refresher. It just feels off to end the stream here. It feels too soon. So what else can I do? I guess I could just skip ahead and skip whatever the fight scene is, but I would need the characters for. So, you know what? I need a refresher on AU characters. So we're gonna end the stream here. Maybe I'm just too tired, and that's where the writer's block is coming from. Like, subscribe. I don't care. Fuck off.